Hello, Just Too Good here with the LEGO Ninjago 2015 set review. This is the LEGO Juniors Lost Temple set. This is $30 in the United States, has 3 minifigures and 172 pieces. Now let's take a look at those minifigures. And here's a part that's going to attract Ninjago fans of all ages. It's an exclusive snake. Now, this snake villain has an exclusive casting color on his head, which is this dark green, and an exclusive torso print, which is a little bit different from the other Ninjago snake. Here is Lloyd, and this is a mix of his 2014 version for his torso and then his 2012 head wrap. He has 2 sides as weapons, and his face print underneath is a more determined Lloyd face. Here is Jay. He has his 2012 head wrap with a 2014 torso print, and his weapon is this little katana, and then his face print underneath looks just like this, no back facial printing. Here are all the builds of the set. You got the Lost Temple, a little snake helicopter, and you have this little dragon for Jay. So the front area is just a little obstacle course for the ninja, which I like because it kind of inspires kids to use their imagination to put this ninja through the obstacle course. So we'll put Jay right here, and you can see he has to make it through the stepping stones into that little door right there because that's where there's the dragon sword or something like that. Either way, there's this little axe right here, which he has to dodge. That just goes in the middle of there. If he makes it past that, he has to dodge this little swinging kind of weapon right here, which could knock him off of there. There's also this little boulder, which goes down a ramp, and you could push it, and it's supposed to kind of go and roll down and kind of knock him off there. So it's kind of cool. I like how they have that you use your imagination, and they even add these little fire parts right here. Also nice to get this little dragon mold in a nice pearl gold color. And then again, this little printed back wall is nice, and you can open it just like that. And once he makes it through the obstacle course, he gets that little dragon sword mold, which is not a new mold, but it's a mold that doesn't come in too many sets nowadays. Very cool casting on that, and I always like that mold. So here's Jay's elemental dragonfly. That's what it looks like to me. It looks like a dragonfly, and I'm afraid kids will think that way too. Because yeah, it's okay to have a simplified kind of a simpler look, but this is way too simple. It doesn't even look like a dragon. And you got this nice printed part on the front, which I do like that. But the rest of it, the wings and the tail just look too pointy and they're too thin, I think. And that kind of makes it hard for kids to even imagine that this is a dragon. I do like how swooshable it is. You just kind of hold it from the back and you could easily swoosh it around. I can imagine that kids with small hands, little kids, will be able to swoosh it around just by holding it with their palm. But you could fit Jay on there just like that. He has space in the back. And he has some articulated points like these 2 little wings, which are kind of clipped on hinges. And you got this ball jointed back tail, which I do like getting this tail piece with that separated black rubber part and the blue plastic. Here's the snake helicopter, which is a simple build that I actually do like. It looks kind of cool, and you could probably fit this in the world of Ninjago without it looking off because it's juniorized and simple. You would see the actual build of this gives kind of a snake look to it because there's these front little teeth right there, which I like how they use that piece in white to illustrate that, and that just kind of clips onto the cockpit part. And the cockpit itself lifts up like that, so you can put one snake villain in there, and we'll put the unnamed snake villain. The control panel is just that printed piece that we've gotten before, but it's still nice to get that. On the side, there's these little spikes in white that kind of give it a teethy look. The actual rotors right here is cool, and I like that. Kids will love spinning that. And it's cool to get these pieces in translucent green, but this is the worst part. It doesn't really clip on at all. It just easily slides off like that. That kind of makes me sad. But there's this little tail that you could position any way you'd like. Also, there's this part, which is a back kind of a area to lift down and maybe put something else inside there. And then there's a chained on kind of hook part, which I guess is used to knock Jay off of the little lost temple. So let's see if we can knock him off. There you go. And the box is a $30 box size with the back. And there's one instruction booklet. Always appreciate the artwork used for these junior sets. You can see right there, very adorable artwork. It is pretty thick for a junior set. So I judge sets on how they fare with adults, and the juniors line is one that I think can transcend from the target demographic and appeal to adults. There's the other Ninjago set I think is a great example of that. This one, on the other hand, it's a little bit of a tougher sell for adults. This little build right here, the temple itself, actually doesn't look bad whatsoever, and I think adults will like that. But these builds right here, they're a little bit more simpler. This right here, the little helicopter, I do like that, and I think that might be a good thing for Ninjago fans. But it is, again, a very simple build. This dragon, on the other hand, is really not that appealing. And I don't even know if kids will like this dragon because it just doesn't look like a dragon. The wings are so... I guess the wings are probably the worst part about it that makes it not look like a dragon. But they really want to use easy builds, and usually these wing builds that they use for Ninjago dragons are very complex. So this might have been the only solution. So I'm kind of disappointed in that, and I think kids will be too. I do appreciate them kind of printing this front part because maybe that could be used for something. And there's a lot of other nice printed pieces like this little temple part and this little round tile right there. So overall, I'll rate this set a C for adults. It's not one of the best builds from Juniors for adults, but it does have some cool parts like the little temple, some of the printed pieces, and then the minifigures are actually a really good inclusion because they have some harder to find Ninjago outfit mixes, and they have an exclusive little snake guy right there. So that's it for my thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.